This is the Ethan Young Podcast. I am Ethan Young, and I appreciate you tuning in. Welcome to the show. I was trying to stay out of that Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial. I even mentioned it in an episode last week, how I was just absolutely not interested. It wasn't until it was featured on Russell Brand's channel as well as Chris D'Elia's channel here on YouTube where I realized it's a major part of the popular conversation. And it's interesting how if you shun yourself from things that maybe, like I said previously, I'm just not personally interested in, it's interesting how you don't get any of the jokes. So for instance, things just go completely over my head until eventually I get some sort of glimpse into the trial on Russell Brand's channel and on Chris D'Elia's channel, and then seeing that it looks like there's a lot of things that I saw on social media prior to this that I didn't even realize, like for instance, maybe some shitting in the bed talk, and maybe some talk about Elon Musk and Amber Heard and all kinds of stuff. And I was just thinking, I wonder what, you know what I mean? Without knowing the details, it doesn't have a whole lot of weight. And so it's interesting how trying to keep out of those things, you end up putting yourself in a, almost in a cave, I guess. That's why people say, have you been under a rock? Have you been in a cave? Whatever it is that kept you away from seeing these major stories. But it's just like, I personally didn't see any reason to follow this. I just thought it was one of those things that, like I mentioned before, maybe I misunderstood this whole thing. Maybe it's just like, air your dirty laundry front and center, and everybody else's dirty laundry and anybody else that you can get a hold of's dirty laundry, and just put it in the front of the fucking camera and do whatever you can. Because the most interesting thing to me is like, how is it that, like, what is it, like Law and Crime have a constant live stream on YouTube, or like Fox has, constant clips, or, like a live stream on YouTube? It's like, I don't understand how it is that these media companies get to monetize on their trial. Like, why would it not be that, I know it sounds stupid, but I mean, they're the ones that are having to go through all this drama. So why would they not monetize on their drama? So for instance, Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, shouldn't they be the ones that get the money? Like, how is it that, I mean, obviously the ad revenue that Law and Crime, and obviously the ad revenue that Fox or anybody, those are just the two that I've personally seen in my whatchamacallit on YouTube, that little, recommendation homepage. Your recommendation homepage is just like some of the ones that I saw that I, again, didn't originally, I still haven't clicked on. I still haven't learned enough about the trial, but apparently you're just supposed to, I don't know, pay attention to these things. And that's what it's like. I don't understand, like, why. I guess I get it. It's like, no, I don't get it. I can't make sense of it. Somebody's got to tell me, like, why do we give a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I find that about so many different things, unfortunately. But the one thing I realize is, like I said, I'd rather be in the conversation, like not having any idea what, say, Twitter posts are about. And I'm not on Twitter, but people that think something went well on Twitter seem to post it on their Instagram account. So I'll occasionally see those things on Instagram, but other than that, I just don't understand how it is that the folks that are in this trial, why they're not the ones monetizing off the situation if it is their drama. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. Like, again, if you had a choice, you would think that would just be your business. And I don't mean to think like that's crazy, but you would hope that most people, when they're going through one of the toughest times of their life, they, would want to keep that to themselves. Just in the fact that you may experience some things that you haven't gone through before, and it may be a novel experience that you're like, I probably don't want to air all of this, or maybe even any of this to the public. And so I just don't understand how it is that they're not benefiting from it. But sure is a story. Sure has lots of people captivated and interested. And it just, I mean, I guess more than anything, it sounds like I guess originally I thought it was like their divorce trial. I didn't realize it was a defamation trial. So I didn't realize that like he was basically, if I understand it correctly, right, he's like suing her because he was not able to, he was not able to get roles that she prevented him from getting. Is that correct? So it's like, feel free to correct me, please. I have paid so little attention to it and only caught it in small clips on other people's channels. But it's just like, I don't know what it is about the whole thing that's so goddamn interesting. Aside from the fact that it's like their dirty laundry, which again, if they're gonna monetize on, great. Hey, get that out there if people are interested, which they sure shit seem to be. Which that's where it's like, I think I missed the whole model here. Another thing that, speaking of other people's channels, my son recently had mentioned something, and I didn't realize that it was not an individual original thought that he had. He was relaying something that he had picked up on a YouTube channel. And so, for instance, I had discussed it. Luckily, I went in a different direction with it. I discussed it as like, is world peace even possible and things like that. And I have never watched the other channel, so I don't know what it is that was covered. But my son had mentioned that to me because he caught it on Typical Gamers channel, which is apparently a YouTube channel as well. So anyway, just, figure I should throw that out there in the sense that I mentioned it on my channel, but I didn't realize that it was something that my son didn't come up with. I guess from now on, I need to tell him to cite his sources. I need to get, where did you come up with that thought? Because he does have some, what I would consider creative thoughts in the sense that, you're young and you have some questions that maybe I wouldn't even think of, or I should say for sure I wouldn't think of, even if it's something that I don't know the answer to. I don't know necessarily if I would be just thinking about the world in that way. And so, I'll just have to ask him, I guess, where some of this information is coming from sometimes, or again, ask him to cite his sources. But another thing that is funny he was doing recently is like I was walking by and I saw him in the bathroom and he was brushing his teeth, which is good, but he was also peeing. And so I'm just like, all right, dude, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I'm not thrilled. That's my first thought, but I didn't want to like try to distract him because it's like, it seems like he's got his hands full, like I don't feel like the best thing to do is be like, say anything, because he's already, there are people that think that they can multitask, and then I personally just admit I can't fucking do it. I can't do two things at once. And then there's other people that will say, like literal neuroscientists will be like, no, the illusion of trying to do two things at once is really just doing two things badly. You're not doing either thing properly or appropriately. So it's like the best thing to do is just do the one thing, finish it, and then do the next thing. But because he already had two things going, I didn't want to fucking distract him. And so I was just like, I'm not going to say anything, but God forbid that I fucking said something and then, it would be a bigger mess to clean up than just, I guess in a way you almost like appreciate the progression, right? Because you think back to like when they were completely like, they being my child, I think back to when my son was like completely helpless and he was like unable to do anything for himself. He'd be obviously at a time unable to hold his head up, and then at a time wasn't able to walk, and then of course it's like you progress into all these things, which coming to think of that, we are so lucky that we have, like, in my sense, I had an Android for the most of his younger childhood. So like, for instance, if I just ever want to go onto my photos, as long as I have the password to my Google account, I feel like we're so lucky to have that access, in the sense that like we have a cloud that just has all these memories from so long of like videos and photos, and it's just like so many of those things that maybe even I recall and probably don't remember exactly how they happened, but you have these videos. And then now, like for instance on the Apple, I don't have everything backed up to the cloud because I think you only have so much storage, and I never bought more. But even just having them transferred from phone to phone, so like having the ones on my phone now that have been on previous Apple phones, like two other Apple phones, for instance. So it's like, it's cool how you can just like have this accumulation of them growing up. And I guess it's just the way that picture albums were kept in the past, but it's cool to like have these videos and stuff. So like you're recalling the story, but maybe you actually have a video. But I'll be right back. What's up? I'm back. I got a normal fucking person lighter. I've been using that like fucking grill lighter for the last couple weeks. If you've been watching it, I have like this like normal Bic now. I feel like a human person. I feel like a normal person. But I'm back. You know what's another thing I was thinking of? So I recently on accident I bought this ground. No. I meant to buy ground coffee, right? But I did not. I bought fucking whole bean. Right? And so I hate returning shit. If you know me, hate returning shit. Not going to waste my time doing that. I think it's fucking crazy. So instead, I put $20 on a credit card where I bought a coffee grinder. But turns out it actually grinds pretty fucking easy. I didn't realize how easy that process was. I don't know why I didn't buy a coffee grinder in the past. Maybe it was just the particular kind of coffee that I got, but I didn't really notice the difference. Maybe it's just because the particular ground coffee that I'm already drinking is better, or maybe I'm just used to the flavor, but I wasn't blown out of my mind. Also, I was trying to like pull an all-nighter, so that kind of fucks it up too, right? Because like, I mean, this is just my opinion, but it seems like if you are way past your tired point, no matter how much coffee you try to drink, even if it's fantastic and loaded with caffeine, you're going to get tired. Like, it's going to come to a point where you can't just keep loading yourself with coffee. You're going to have to come up with something else, which I fucking fell asleep after drinking a Monster the other night. Again, I was trying to pull an all-nighter, and man, I think back to like 4 years ago, and I would do it like 3 nights a week, and it did lead to bad things eventually, but I just thought I could still do that shit, and now I'll be pounding brand new whole bean coffee that I just ground, and I had a point that I was trying to get to in all this, but the idea was I bought this fucking whole bean coffee, so I had to get a coffee grinder, and so I'm putting the owner's manual in a Ziploc bag. I have this like freezer Ziploc bag in a drawer with all these other owner's manuals. And I thought to myself, I never go to this drawer when something breaks. I just throw it the fuck away. I get rid of a device that just broke. I don't like go research within the owner's manual what the device requires from the parts, order the parts. It seems like going and finding the owner's manual, researching the parts that I need to fix it, and trying to buy them from some 800 number or online or whatever would take me longer than just buying a new one. So typically I just throw it away and I get a new one. But then I realized I probably have fucking owner's manuals for shit that I don't even probably have anymore. I mean, I have a drawer full of so many owner's manuals, and even the stuff that I do have, I don't think I'm ever going to refer to it. And it's like, am I the only one doing this? When you guys get a new product, do you just throw that fucking shit away? Or do you actually, because like the back page, right, as an example, the back page is normally that one that's like, you need to register this product in case there's ever a fucking recall, right? So in case it's ever like they're killing people and they need to let you know that your fucking toaster is going to blow up in your face, you have to like send it in and say, hey, I have this toaster, so that way if that shit ever happens. But I typically don't do that either. So it's like, am I just wasting my time keeping all these fucking owner's manuals? And does anybody else do this, or do you just throw them away? Because like, I don't know, man. I kind of think I'm wasting my time at this point. Also, do you think I'm crazy? Like, do you take the owner's manual and then do you research the part that's broken, and then do you fucking try to order the part from the company and then try to wait for it to come and repair it yourself? Like, is that worth all of your time and money, or do you just buy a new one? Because it's like, I mean, right? Like normally, again, the coffee grinder is $20. Like, how much are all your fucking hours of time that you're going to spend doing that worth? And then you're just going to have a used, refurbished coffee maker or whatever the fuck, we were talking about coffee grinder, sorry, doubling as a spice grinder. My thought was, though, if I put spices in it, then it's going to taste fucking weird. So like, right, if I wanted to like grind up black pepper in my spice grinder, I would probably just get a different one, right? That's my thought, because otherwise, unless I want really peppery coffee, I was like, if I feel like I should have one for coffee and then one for spices, even though it says it doubles as a spice grinder. I just couldn't believe how easy. I tried to fucking break the beans like with a pan before I bought the grinder because I'm a piece of shit, and I was just like, oh, I could save money doing this. But that didn't work out. So I bought this goddamn coffee grinder, but it was well worth it. I just can't believe it. I never thought it was that fucking easy. But yep, I don't know. It seems like I could just buy a new one. Am I crazy? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. One of the other things that's been really fucking with me, and you guys can let me know if this has affected you at all, is procrastination, dude. Procrastination has been a fucking bitch lately. Like, I will just see myself disguising it even to myself as like some sort of fucking assistance. Like I'll mask it like a Trojan horse to sneak in procrastination to my schedule, but fucking it seems like it's assistance. Like I will, for instance, I allow myself a certain amount of time from when I wake up before I work out. So I'm like, I need to stretch, but then I'll just find myself doing like the same stretches over and over. So like I'm clearly stretched out, I'm clearly ready, but I just don't want to work out. I just don't want to start. And so I'm just like finding myself like, okay, obviously I'm procrastinating. Like this is clearly, I don't need to stretch anymore. I'm good. Or like I'll have, I always like do my like a shake basically after I work out, and so I'm gonna clean that blender pitcher basically when I'm done with that. So it's like I always know I'm going to do dishes at that point because I have to clean it. But like before my workout, I'll be like, well, I can knock out some dishes, if like there's anything left over from the night before, or if like we've eaten anything so far that morning, I'll be like, well, I can do my dishes when I know for a fact that I have to do that pitcher in 2 hours. So it's just like I might as well do it all at once. It would be way more efficient to do that. It would make way more sense, but I disguise it to myself as like assistance, and I know it's just fucking off my schedule. It's just fucking procrastination blowing my schedule to pieces, and I gotta just quit letting it overcome me. It's crazy. I don't know how I see it creeping in, because it's like I have this certain amount of time to get everything done, and if I do exceed that amount of time, it fucks up the rest of my day. It's like a fucking ripple wave that just destroys all the other plans that you have, or makes them harder to do, or I just end up going there with like fucking, doesn't it seem like sometimes, and I mean, it doesn't matter what you think about this, but everybody's got to maintain the hair on their face in some way or another, whether you do or don't shave, or shave every couple days or whatever it is. But like sometimes I'll just like, for instance, like my eyebrows or something will get completely out of whack because you're just not paying attention, right? And it's just like, speaking of that, not my eyebrows, thank God, but the fucking, just like not paying attention. If you've never seen the Waking Up app or ever tried the Waking Up app by Sam Harris, I swear to God, it's really weird. There's like this it's almost impossible to hang on to. It's really weird how it is, but like I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but it does this thing where like it's almost like, I think it's called non-duality. I don't know if there's a name for it or if I applied that in the wrong way, but like you almost go away from, in my opinion, the way I would describe it is you go away from like being inside this tunnel where you're just focused on what's in front of you, and you have your thoughts narrating over this tunnel, and you go to like wide view. And so like all of a sudden you have wide view, but it's almost impossible to hang on to for a long period of time. And it seemed like, okay, when I wasn't like, so I had a couple days in between work, and I had a couple days in between like having to run Breck to school and stuff like that. And so then it's like, then I notice it seems easier to, like, it's almost like the fewer stresses and the fewer responsibilities and things, the more time I have to put into it, the longer that I can stay in this like almost state. And I know it's weird to say, but it's almost like, it's funny because he'll say during some of the guided meditations, and I'm sure if you haven't done meditation, you can try it. I think there's free people that do it on YouTube. There's places you can do, apps, all kinds of stuff. But in his particular ones, he would be saying for the longest time, he'll say, drop back. And I almost like, I feel like I never got it. I feel like I never was like, drop back. Okay, what the fuck is he talking about? But then like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is fucking dropping back. It's so weird when it happens, but it's so weird how fleeting it is. It's so crazy how it's like, it's like you're there, and then thoughts, and then you're there, and then thoughts, and it's just crazy how you spend so much of your life, if not fucking probably the majority of it, right? You probably spend the majority of your life just stuck in your heads in fucking thoughts, dude. It's crazy. And another thing that just clicked to me recently, and it's weird. It's weird how long it took me, and I know it's so dumb, but like I was watching that Joe Rogan podcast, so JRE, and he had Mike Tyson on. I think it was that one. He was either that one, or it was when he was on Hotboxing, when Joe Rogan did Hotboxing with Mike Tyson. Either one or the other. But I'm watching them, and I had it in my head for days, but I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, or I thought I did, but then it fucking clicked later. And I swear that's kind of how like the waking up thing is like I feel like all of a sudden it's like all these things that I've been doing for like all this long period of time, it makes more sense. But again, it's still, even with all of that knowledge, and even almost feeling like maybe I touched it for a second, I don't get to keep it. I don't get to stay there. You know what I mean? No matter how far it is that maybe I got. And fuck, I was talking about something else, and I almost forgot what it is. I did forget what it is. I'm sure there's no good reason for that. I can't think of any good reason why that would happen. But what else were we discussing? Because this is an open. You know, you shout at your device. You can at least put it in the comments. I can read it. You can send us an email. Then we can follow up with that. Damn it! Oh, I remember what it is. I probably won't quote it correctly now that I'm like having to recall it, which sucks. But I think he just basically said like, fuck. It was something about being in a neighborhood all alone was the idea. I'm gonna fuck it up, but the mind is a real dangerous neighborhood to travel by ourselves. The mind is a real dangerous neighborhood. That wasn't it, but that was kind of the idea. Yeah, god damn it. But basically the idea was, I almost feel like I should cut this out because it's so embarrassing that I mentioned it and I fucking completely lost train of my thought. And now that I can recall it, I don't even remember what the fuck the quote was. But the idea is like he was like saying, your mind, you're all alone in there was the idea. And it's weird how that's what you're supposed to get, I believe. And it took me so long to get that. Like I didn't fucking understand like what the fuck he was trying to say until I realized that like that's literally it. Like we spend so much time, I feel like, inside of our minds and just literally lost in thought on a constant basis. And depending on how brutal or kind or introspective or whatever your thoughts are, that's what you're stuck with. And so, for instance, if you beat the fuck out of yourself mentally and you're just alone in your head with your thoughts all the time, I think he said something like it's a dark neighborhood and you're all alone in there, like it's a dark part of town and you're all alone in there, it's a dark part of town and you're all alone, or, it's a dark neighborhood and you're all alone. And I almost didn't know what he meant because I was thinking like, oh, so you want people, but I think it's like you want to get the fuck out of your head. That's what I think it is. I don't know, man. That's just how I connected those things. And I heard somebody put it, I don't want to feel like there's any moral supremacy there. Like, I don't feel like I'm cooler by establishing that, but it is cool when you do feel like you can almost like step back. You almost feel like you like go into a wide view and all of a sudden like everything's just happening. And it was weird. Like, I know I mentioned it last week, but it doesn't matter. But I was just like, do I exist? Because it's almost confusing. Because like I probably mentioned, and like I could say now, it's always just this, right? it's always just consciousness. Like this is all we ever have, is exactly this, until we don't have it, right? And so then whatever death is, no matter what death is, consciousness is this until it's not. Which I know sounds crazy, but then it's just like when you realize like that's always what it is. I don't know. It's so weird. I wish I could describe it. It's so cool that there are these people that can describe it, and that's why I say just, you know, I would recommend to anybody that doesn't have a guided meditation app, if you don't have any reason to look into it, would be to check out Waking Up. But otherwise, if you just had, you know, just any curiosity and you were like, what's this Sam Harris guy all about? I just can't believe how much recently it feels like I'm benefiting from the app. I didn't really, there was nowhere else to go with that. And then I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about next? Now I'm nervous, but yeah. And then also you almost realize like, oh, I'm fucking doing a commercial for some other dude and nobody's asking me to or paying me or anything like that. But I think it's just because of the benefit. And I look like I'm sweating my dick off. It is hot. That's a tough thing, right? Fucking summertime, dude. God damn. I literally considered that at one time because I started this in the winter, right? So I was thinking, I was like, I may have to fucking do it in the morning or something when it's cooler. Because I mean, it's not like you're gonna like, what are you gonna run a swamp cooler? Like I turn on the fucking mic and then I blow a swamp cooler behind me and just, you know what I mean? That's probably sounds really good in your head. I normally blare my shit. I even try to fucking put like my iPad against something that it can reverberate against, so hopefully it echoes it out like an amphitheater in a way. But excuse me. I guess all we were talking about was procrastination, and then I don't remember how the fuck I got into anything else. You know, it was one funny thing that my son said recently. He was like, I heard you can get sick from eating too many vitamins. And I just love how like people will literally pound their face full of chili cheese fries, and then they'll eat like an entire pint of Ben and Jerry's, but then you give them some vitamins and they're like, whew. I gotta watch my intake of all the things that go into my body. You know, I'm really, really cautious of the things that I'm putting in and the way that they may affect me. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not sure if you're gonna be like, for instance, you know what I mean? Like nobody's like, hey, if I eat fucking 35 chili cheese fries and then possibly a half of another order of 35 chili cheese fries, and then I pound a pint of Ben and Jerry's, is that gonna have a negative effect on my body? Do you think that could possibly negatively affect my future or tomorrow or my bathroom trip that I have to make in the morning or anything like that? And it's like, no, they just fucking pound their face over and over again. But then like, you're like, hey, do you want to take some vitamins? And they're like, you're not supposed to take too many of those, right? You got to really be careful about how much vitamins you put in. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I can't find a good reason to. Okay, one time a long time ago, and I don't even remember what the fuck it was. I think I was taking like calcium or something crazy. Basically, my parents had like a medicine cabinet, and there was like one supplement in there, and I think it was like something crazy like calcium or something like that. And I was taking it because I was like, yeah, supplements, fuck yeah. You know, I was way too young. I wasn't going to be buying myself or anything like that. And then years later, I heard like, you're not supposed to take too much of like, you know, something like that. Like maybe it was calcium. Like I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But you know what I mean? Because maybe, for instance, I don't know. Now I'm like, fucking, what am I, a doctor? I'm like thinking about calcium deposits and things like that. I'm like, I don't know if that's true. And I want to rub my nose because I don't know anything about it. So my body's like, abort, bro. Get out of here. You don't know anything about this. And I know that going in and trying to Google it's not a good idea, so I'm not gonna do it. But it is fascinating how people will completely separate those two things, isn't it? Yeah. Still had the I noticed the other day, I have probably over 20 towels that have like little holes in them. So, you know, basically they're all white towels, in fact. So they do kind of look like Swiss cheese, but they got that like Swiss cheese thing going on with them where like, you know, little holes. And I keep them in a separate area away from the good towels because my thought is I don't want to throw them out because like they're not useless in the sense that if I spilt coffee, like if I fucking spilt that coffee that I was just talking about a little while ago, I'm not going to want to use my good white towels, because even though you can bleach them and clean them, probably just not the best. You know what I mean? It's going to discolor them a little bit, you would think, cleaning up some sort of dark brown liquid or something like that. So my thought is, even if I just want to like dry the door jambs of my car or something after I fucking wash it, you know, especially like in the wintertime, if you're going to wash your car in the wintertime and then it's going to go under freezing overnight, if you don't dry the jams, you may not be able to open your doors in the morning. So you for certain have to dry your jams at some point. But my point is, I have over 20 holy towels in a cabinet that I just keep in case things. And my thought was, is this fucking crazy? Is there anybody, like, do other people just keep them in the rotation and just realize like, oh yeah, you know, I have a fuckload of towels and sometimes there's one that's got a little hole in it? Or I think it fucks with your psyche. Like somehow when I fold the towel, when I do the laundry, when I use the towel, something about seeing that little hole in it. Cause like even you can like hang them in the bathroom and you don't see the little hole. Cause in a way you can fold them. Even if you folded them like one certain way normally, there's probably a way you could fold it altered that wouldn't show the hole, is my point. But it almost fucks with my head. And the weird thing is I think it's a reminder that my life needs, in the sense that like shit's not perfect. And it's weird. I almost think like, because it's weird. That's all it reminds me of. It's just constantly like, oh yeah, life's not perfect. Life's not perfect. Life's not perfect. And it's like, I should just know that. That is a normal thing. People, you know, like, especially seems like like religious people, especially more in the Christianity type thing, you know, people always think, you know, Jesus was perfect or whatever, you know, like nobody's perfect is the idea, at least that I heard from some people that claimed as Christians. I shouldn't fucking generalize that or pin that to that religion. I apologize. No, I forgot what I was talking about because I'm defending a religion. Doesn't make any sense. No idea. But holy towels, do you keep them? Do you just keep rotating them? Do you just use them and you just have one? Or am I right to like, I have a fucking safe full of goddamn, you know, not really obviously, but just a very large amount of holy towels at this point. Cause like over the years, they've just become shitty, you know? So like, I don't use them anymore. We have some good towels, but not that many, not over 20. I don't have, that's what I'm saying. Like we could have a bunch of towels, but I wonder what normal people do. They probably don't worry about it. And if you're super rich, you probably have so many different houses, you don't even have to worry about it. But I think the average American, you can't buy too goddamn many, right? And like I said, fuck, man, the closer I get to what I feel like is the average American, I don't even feel like you get to look up very often. I feel like you spend so much time literally just head down going. And it's like every day you just have to, and then the small amount of time that you get, say, away from just trying to make money and trying to pay your bills and trying to move forward, it's like it's barely just enough to recover. And then you're like, fuck, I'm back at it again. You know, it's like I said, unless you have like an extended period of time where it almost feels like you can recenter and get yourself grounded again. And it's almost crazy how necessary those things are to get more in touch with the way you actually feel, and maybe even the way you can resolve things is what I was going to say in the future, but manage your life in the future. It almost feels like you need some time sometimes just to fucking step back and not always just have your head down running forward. It's a lot. And I think that's what so many people are doing. I think that's what everybody's doing all the time. And it's hard not to. That's what I was saying. I don't know. But that's where I wonder, yeah, do you even have time to think about towels? Probably not. That's where I say, like, you probably just, after a while, you're like, oh, yep, it's got a hole in it, but you're just working and going, and then you get your time off, and then you work, and you get your time off, you work. It's like, yeah, you get to go to the grocery store and stuff like that, but then, I don't know, me personally, I'm not, like, always thinking, like, oh, fuck yeah, I need towels. You know what I mean? It's almost like you need, I don't know. You need a couple minutes just to realize, like, oh yeah, I've been using a holy towel for 4 years. Maybe I should just buy 6 new towels. You know what I mean? And put these in a cabinet somewhere. You know, like, I don't know. Am I out of my mind? Is that bougie? Is that crazy? I don't know what it is. But do you ever catch people that have tattoos right before a picture is taken? It reminds me of somebody that's in a movie that has to get the ad dollars from a sponsor, and they're like facing a beverage product or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like a Coca-Cola sponsor, and they like got to turn the label to make sure it's out right before the picture is taken. That's funny. That's what it reminds me of. Those folks that have tattoos. I guess I'm lucky. I just never really got into that. You know, I think I've said it before, but people, I guess my thought is there's nothing that I would be that interested in for that long, but you know, people could easily say, well, what about your kids? And it's like, I'm not going to forget them. I don't need the one I have, him, my son. I should say them, my son. I'm not going to forget my son. I don't have any need to print it onto my skin to remember, but I sure do love right before a picture to see people. I was going to say folks and people, and then it came out peeps, which is, I guess, something that people said at a time, but not something I typically say. I caught myself saying tight again the other day, and I caught myself saying that last week, and I was like, fuck, I guess I just say that. I guess I just get excited about stuff, and I literally say tight, which is like, great, that's just a part of my vocabulary, and it's almost like until you're paying attention again, which is crazy. I don't know. I wonder, do you feel like you're present? Do you feel like you're in a tunnel? Do you feel like your fucking head is narrating the thoughts that are constantly flowing through your brain, and you're just literally in this tunnel seeing these few things right in front of you all the time? And sometimes, occasionally and rarely, you can step back from that and you can just see the world for what it is. Do you feel like that? Or do you always feel like your wide view? Do you always feel like your wide angle view, and you're just, you can take everything in as it is, and each moment you're just present and aware of what's going on? Because I just feel like that's so tough to grasp and hold on to. And I wonder how, again, people that, you know, I'm sure there are people that work more and longer hours than I do, and so again, it's just how the fuck do they do it, you know? And then it's like, you think about, I've said it before, but you think about people like Cameron Haynes and stuff like that are just like, he has a full-time job and then he runs fucking 13 miles a day up mountains, and it's like, then how the fuck do people do that? You know what I mean? Like, how? And I guess it's just like, I don't know, Joe was talking about on that BJ Penn podcast, he was talking about how it's just like the motherfucker that can just keep going, that can just, they're literally just able to never stop and just to keep going, and the motherfucker that can go the longest and the hardest, talking about like Lance Armstrong and bicyclists and stuff like that. And it's so funny, I've heard Joe Rogan on podcasts for years talk about BJ Penn, and I swear to God, my whole life, because I haven't been a big USC fan, I always thought of that BJ Novak guy from The Office, and I know it's so dumb, but until I finally see that guy, he looks nothing like BJ Novak. They're not even the same person at all. But every time I ever heard Joe Rogan talk about BJ Penn, I always thought of BJ Novak from The Office. And they don't look anything alike. I hope that BJ Penn guy gets the governor in Hawaii. That's badass. That's awesome. He's trying to do that. I don't know much about the Hawaiian government, if anything at all, but it is cool that he's trying to do that, and that he's got family and people there that he cares about. And hopefully his, you know, popularity that he was able to gain with the UFC, you know, I'm sure he was already popular within the Hawaiian culture and people, but it was probably able to grow that and gain popularity to more people that maybe wouldn't have had an awareness, because he was so amazing in jiu-jitsu and because he became so amazing in UFC. And I may have misquoted. He may have been in another organization. I'm sorry. I don't know enough about it. I do apologize. I know he fought and he did well in his prime. He was apparently very, very good. But I'll be right back. What's up? I'm back. During the break, I tried to look up that quote, and I still couldn't find it. Again, I don't remember what I said earlier, but I think it was something like, your mind is a dangerous neighborhood, and you're all alone. I think it was something like that. It's crazy how I hear those things, like while I'm listening to a podcast or something like that, and I just think, I'll be able to find that later. I'll be able to track that down on the internet. I don't think like, oh, I should probably fucking jot that down so I can remember it for the rest of my life. I think the thing is like, I thought about it later because I didn't quite get it when I first heard it. And so that's why I was thinking about it later. And it wasn't until all of a sudden I realized, oh, fuck, I'm all alone with me in my head. And then I thought back to the quote and I was like, God damn, that's what the fuck he was talking about. It's like, that's what at least I think he was talking about. It's funny to come to like that epiphany conclusion, and then like if I wasn't right, if like I was wrong about what I thought about it, and I'm just fucking throwing it out there like it's the law, or it is to me anyway, until I learn better, until I understand it better. But that was my interpretation, and that was the epiphany that I had. But unfortunately, I couldn't find it. So it's the most recent Mike Tyson, Joe Rogan, on one of their podcasts. Don't remember which one, but it was one of them. But that's plenty of things for you to check out. You know, it's funny, another one that like I had watched, or like, you know, I know Russell Brand was doing that, or he definitely already did. But he kept advertising that Wim Hof event that he was doing, and like, you know, Joe Rogan's done like Wim Hof, and I didn't ever look up all of the claims that he has made, so I haven't actualized any of the things that he's said. But I just like sometimes when I watch him talk, I have this like wonder. I'm like, hey, does anybody ever think that maybe he's just like a fucking homeless guy from San Francisco? Maybe like he was just like Sacha Baron Cohen style going in, and he's just like sitting at his encampment, and he was like, I'm gonna tell people that I can cure everything. And then they were just like, no, dude, you can't do that. And he's like, yeah. And they're like, what are you gonna do it with? And he's like, with breathing. I'm just gonna tell people that I can cure everything with breathing. And he totally looks like a homeless person. I know, I'm a total asshole. He would probably just like laugh at that and be like a total nice guy and just like brush it off because he's so goddamn in touch with himself. That probably wouldn't even bother him. So it's like, that's almost like punching down, right? When somebody's just like so clearly in touch. Again, I haven't researched any of the things that I heard him say, but if he did all the shit that he said he did, and he's getting other people to do all the shit that he said that he's doing, that's fucking amazing. My headphones just fucked up, so hopefully it was just my headphones and not the audio. God damn it, I hope that's it. Oh, you know what it is? That's so crazy. I was lucky enough during the break that I found out that my phone was not on silent, and that is literally the static that I'm hearing in my headphones is when fucking something comes in on my cell phone. So text messages were just coming in on my cell phone, and I was hearing static in my fucking headphones. What the fuck is that? How is it that the headphones, maybe it was a vibration off the table or something like that? Maybe it was vibrating and it got the vibration off the table. I literally heard static, and then I looked down and I'm like, oh, I'm getting text messages on my phone, but it's a fucking group chat that my mom included me in. So if I wouldn't have turned my phone on silent during the break, it would just be like going stupid right now, which is not cool, not okay. One thing that I would be curious, if anybody else wants to put this to test, or if they feel like it's happened before, and I know what I risk saying it, because I personally, even to myself, I said it to one other person, but you know what's interesting? I'll probably lose what the fuck I was going to try to talk about by trying to talk about this. I swear that there is a level of information that gets out that is correct, and then it seems like those same people that get that information that's correct are given information that is absolutely batshit crazy. Because it is interesting, because for instance, the one person that I told the thought that I was going to share, he has said some batshit crazy stuff, but then he's also said some stuff that like has pretty much come out to be true in a lot of ways. And then you just wonder, like, I was spitting. It's disgusting. Spitting stuff out of my face there. When I was like, He's game stuff. My point in saying that is, it really seems like some of this so-called conspiracy theory knowledge comes out to be true later. And then it's interesting how, like, those same people say some shit that I don't think is ever going to come out to be true. But again, I probably felt the same way about the first thing, and I was wrong about that. But my thought was, and I guess I know that I risk sounding like a fucking lunatic, but I'm okay with that. I have said it before. I believe our phones at least know and are listening to what we're saying, right? And that's not the fucking, because everybody's like, yeah, duh, dude. Okay, well, here's the next step. I think that sounds fucking nuts, but I think that people don't even need to say it or write it. I literally think that we can just think something and our phone, and the only other explanation that I can come up with is that I literally 100% forget about saying something, or I 100% forget about inputting it into Google, and then later it's served to me again, and then it's like, okay, I actually did say it, or I did write it, and that's where they're getting this information to advertise to me, or it just happens to be so tuned in, which I wouldn't deny that either, that it offers you these things that you're interested in. I swear to God, though, man, I can literally just be thinking about something, like, it's like, right, like, you think about like a certain product or a certain comedian or whatever it is, and then it's like, that's what they're advertising to you, or that's the next video that they want to show you, and you're just like, I didn't put that in the search bar. I didn't fucking write any, look for any tickets for that anywhere. Like, I didn't talk about that to anyone. Like, that was just a thought and an interest that I personally had. But again, maybe I guess there's more than even just two options. The algorithm could just be so good that it literally can predict things that you are just all of a sudden interested in, that maybe you haven't voiced to anybody, but then they're like, are you interested in this? And you're like, but within the last few hours, and I haven't told anybody about it, so I don't know how you know about it. You know what I mean? Is it just so predictable that it's literally there at the same time that you are? Or does it have some fucking ability to, I swear to God, like, look into our soul, I guess the, Christian soul in that sense, if you're thinking about that, but look into just, the depths of you and fucking get the secrets out, pull them out of your face. I know that sounds right. Again, I know it sounds crazy. I think it sounds crazy, but hey, so does that Wim Hof sounds like a homeless guy that just like, like it got lucky, like the fucking sugar people in the 1950s. They were just like, hey, we can just pay off a bunch of scientists and then they'll just talk shit for us. And you know what I mean? Like, after Wim Hof got the fucking scientists behind him, he was just like, guess I shouldn't stop now. You know what I mean? Like, he paid off a couple good scientists, and then he's got them saying that everything he's doing is real, and he's fucking set, No, but my point in saying that is, I guess we have been given information in the past, like sugar, and what the sugar industry did from, paying scientists and having them inform us that fats were terrible and that sugars were good, and then we needed sugar in our diet, and then you find out later that was all a scam, and that was all a sham, or I guess what it is to say. I guess it's not a scam, but yeah, I guess it's both. Maybe it's both. Who knows? Tell me in the comments. Let me know. Subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you here each week as we present a new episode. And by we, I just mean fucking me. And so tune in again next week. Subscribe if you haven't already. And like this video before you get the fuck out of here. But come back next week. And I love you. And I appreciate you tuning in. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.